Hello, everybody. Today we're doing a recap of my Terra Mystica Tuesday League season because I had a couple of games that I thought were worth highlighting, vaguely interesting, and I also want to just give a shout out to the organizers and talk about a little bit of the fun that happened between games. So this was the 10th season of TMTL, Terra Mystica Tuesday League. If you're not aware, I can put a link in the description of the comments. But it's a fantastic league, and we have this season to thank for this season. We have Ghostly and Hasky who coordinated and organized the whole thing, which is no small amount of work. So huge thanks to them. This season's theme was Taskmaster. So for anyone not aware, Taskmaster is a British comedy panel show / game show, and it's excellent. It's one of my favorite shows. And so I was thrilled when they announced that they were going to be doing Taskmaster style tasks that were Terra Mystica related, because I've always wanted to take part in some kind of Taskmaster challenge. So anyways, I approached it with gusto, and so let's talk about that first. So I'm going to talk about the tasks, and then we're going to go into the games. I played 4 games, and I managed to barely win my league. So I got a 3rd place, a 2nd place, and 2 first place. So I'm going to go through the end game state of the 2 games that were not as good, and then go through the replay of the 2 games that were that went well for me, because I think there's some interesting decisions in those games. So first things first, you should be able to see on the screen here the tasks. So every week, Ghostly and Hasky put together tasks that had a deadline for each week that were related to the Terra Mystica faction. So there was find the location on Google Maps where the Chaos Magicians place their Chaos Portal. Most chaotic magical portal wins. Depict a baby swarmling using only items from the kitchen. Player with the most swarmling-looking baby swarmling wins. Prepare a celebration drink that alchemists brew. The drink that looks most alchemisty wins. And identify the music the Orin listen to when sitting under their Tree of Serenity. Most serene tune wins. And finally, probably my favorite, write a short story or sonnet about a halfling in Shakespearean style. Most clever tragedy wins. There were a lot of very fun entries for all of these, and I just wanted to show, I managed to win 2 of the tasks, so I wanted to show those here. First one was depict a baby swarmling using only items from the kitchen. So I went into my kitchen and found a bunch of food storage containers that had blue tops. I was basically looking around my kitchen for anything blue, and this was the first thing I found. And then I noticed that the Tupperwares themselves, with a little bit of help, could look like structures that Swarmlings would build on a Terra Mystica board. So here's my 7th structure, Baby Swarmling. And it was a good enough entry to win that task. And then, what else do we have? Prepare a celebration drink that alchemists brew. The drink that looks most alchemisty wins. So for this one, I found a martini glass on the dusty martini glass on the top shelf of one of my cabinets. Dusted it off, put some coins and a temple in there, and I'm calling this one the Alka Martini. So that was also good enough to win that task. So a lot of fun. Again, huge thanks to Ghostly and Hasky for not only organizing the leagues that we could get some good games in. There were, I think there's like 12 turn-based leagues and 5 or 6 live leagues, something like that. So with 5 people per league. So that's a lot of people get to enjoy this. So huge thanks to them. But they also went above and beyond, put together these tasks for everybody to enjoy. So I had a blast. And so that's all I'll say about the tasks. But I had a lot of fun. So on to the games. Let's see. So this is the game that I played that, it was a fun game, it was a fun setup. It's the game where I would say I did the worst. I played Dwarves, it was on Fjords. Excuse me, and we played with landscapes. So, this is the endgame state. just to look over at the side panel here, Patrick of the Isles just totally slayed this game as Darklings. Rhonda Rice on Nomads also played really solid for second place. And then Mermaids and Dwarves, I managed to squeak out third place by 1 point. I'll talk a little bit about how that played out here over Mermaids. So Darklings got kind of a nice break from Mermaids in the first round, which I think helped with their game, but certainly doesn't account for the huge point gap they managed to win by. They played an incredible game here. So Darklings started here in the east, the west. Let me put on hex numbers here. And soaked up a bunch of leech. Ended up with a stranded structure. So I'm going to scroll down so we can see a little bit better here. But in the first round, Mermaids took double dig. They dug F5 to blue and F8 to blue. And Darklings were next to them on both of those. So Mermaids could only secure one of those two hexes, which meant that Darklings were able to cut through F8 and get an easier town here and easier expansion access too, which is really nice for them. This is a beautiful Darklings game. Played really well. Nomad's game, they managed to get down all but 3 structures, which I believe got them the network win. Yep, down to 15 structures. So they won network. They also took an early round 2 town in the town round for the 2 key town, and you can see their cult position here is really nice. They end up winning 2 cults, getting 2 second places. So that's really nice. That's what, 24 cult points, and which was a little bit rough for me in a couple of ways. So as Dwarves here, I pretty much did what I wanted to do this game, except I did not manage to connect all of my structures. So instead of being competitive for the network win, I ended up tying for third place. That's a pretty big swing of points. So I think I would have been in it pretty well for at least to compete for second place if that had not been the case. But I didn't secure my hexes. So how it played out was I got a really strong start, and I told myself, I'll worry about connection later. Round 3, round 4, we'll figure it out. So I took single dig on H3 for my first action of the game. And that turned out to be a mistake. What Nomads did was they cut off a lot of my hexes up here, got that early town, and then by the end of round 3, or really the middle of round 3, I think pretty much all of my connection paths had totally dried up. So Nomads sandstormed down here, one of my gray hexes, and then the red hex that could have connected me here on H6, that also got taken. Mermaids built a lot of these hexes around here, so I was pretty much penned in from the start, and I didn't have a good enough plan to pivot from there, so played a solid game, got Earth 1, Water 1, had a lot of points in rounds 4 and 5, both trading post rounds with Water 1. Got a lot of tunnels this game, but it just wasn't enough without connection. So, but I managed to squeak out third place by 1 point, and the reason for that is I ended up upgrading digs, as I really tend to love to, in round 6 in this game. And that will be a theme for the games to follow, so I upgraded digs here as Dwarves for round 6 in the big building round, which is sort of tends to be a low scoring round 6 for folks. And that let me get out just enough structures to tie Darklings for third place on network, and to get a tunnel here to H7 with my landscape. So without that, I would not have gotten the third place. So, and the third place was actually exactly what I needed to seal the outright win for the league. Otherwise, it would have gone to a tiebreaker, but we'll get to that after. So this was this game. I felt like it was a solid Dwarves game overall. Had a really pretty explosive start with some strong cult rewards, but without connection, I just didn't prioritize it early enough. All my hexes got taken, and in the west here, and so I didn't have enough to be competitive. But a fun game nonetheless. On to the next game. This game I managed to come in second place as Halflings. So again, this is the endgame state. Looking over at the side panel here, you can see, where is it? Witches with a pretty commanding 165 for the win. Me in second place is Halflings, 144. Mermaids at 136, close behind, and Giants had a bit of a rough game. They ended up on 123. So let's scroll down a little bit here. So this game, I can't really point to anything in particular that did go great for me, but it just felt like a little bit of a weak game. I just didn't quite do enough early. Didn't feel like a really very strong start. I skipped Water 1 intentionally. Went for 2 towns and a round 4 town round with Fire 2. And when it looked like I wasn't going to connect or compete on network, I said, you know what, I'm just going to get 3 towns and try to win as many cults as I can. So I did get my 3 towns, 2 in round 4 for bonus points from the town round, and then 1 in round 6 here. And I managed to win 3 cults and get 2nd place on the last cult. So that all went pretty well. What pushed this over the edge to a 2nd place for me was that I realized late on that Mermaids had 1 disconnected structure here in the middle. So they had only 3 structures left on their board, but they hadn't connected all of their structures by shipping. And I think it might have actually been an oversight on their part. It's possible they counted out the points and decided that dig upgrades were more worth it. See, they got down to fully upgraded digs at the end here. But that was just enough for me to connect and actually beat them. So I dug this hex in the center and built this hex on the top row here at the very end of the game after Mermaids had already passed to connect up all my structures and tie for a 3-way first place on network. So losing those network points hurt Mermaids a lot. They went from being in it to getting 0 network points. That was pretty tough on their part, but worked out well enough for me. I thought I was playing for 3rd place the whole time, but with network points at the end, it ended up going well. But big ups to Witches here. They had a great game. They had a really explosive start on Temp Ship. They managed to get out 7 dwellings in around 1 dwelling round, and then pass on to a coins tile at the beginning of round 2. So they were really off to the races. I started on Priest instead of Temp Ship because I didn't have too much of a use for Temp Ship, but I considered taking Temp Ship just to block the Witches' start. They ended up winning this game, and the Dwelling Rush was definitely really helpful for them. I think that if I had taken Temp Ship, it would have just hurt both of us. I think we would have just both been hurting a little more, so I'm not sure that was the right move, but regardless, really well-played game by Witches in particular here, and a fun one. One other notable thing from this game was that I didn't upgrade digs until round 6 as Halflings, which is not terribly common. I ended up doing a bunch of digs before round 6, and then passing to round 6 without a bonus tile, unfortunately, which is part of my struggles late in this game. Didn't score off of the bonus tiles well enough. But upgraded digs round 6, managed to connect, pulled out a 2nd place. Alright. So now let's go on to a full game replay here. Making sure everything still looks good. Great, okay, so this was, that Halflings game was my home game. I don't remember whose home game this was, but it's just base map, classic settings, no landscapes, no nothing. And we've got Darklings, Engineers, and Mermaids, and Gears. So, looking at this auction, it's been a while since the auction happened, so frankly I don't remember exactly what I was thinking. But I ended up on Darklings here. So I ended up on Darklings at 30 here, with Engineers bid all the way down to 21, Mermaids at 34, with Gears as the 40 faction. So coming into this game, I felt pretty good about the deal that I got. Just gonna turn on hex numbers for us here. So just to break down the setup a little bit, we're pretty light on coins here on the bonus tiles, but we do have 2 cult events that give coins, so that's nice. Otherwise, we're missing the Spade, which not really effective for Darklings, but certainly the other factions here may be hurt because of that. So we'll see how it all goes. Okay, so hopefully we'll be able to see favorite tiles this way. So here we are. I place C1 to start the game off. And then I get the last placement here. And I decided to go in the north. I decided to go B5 here. Fakir's placements, you'll notice G4 is kind of, I would say that's an atypical placement. D3 is pretty common. But with Fakir's not starting in the middle, that's a pretty good break for me here. That alleviates some of the pressure on the north, particularly this B4 hex. That will help me connect all my structures up by the end of the game. And with Fakir's on G4, there's still, they're 2 digs basically, F5, D6, away from getting to that hex. So I'm starting B5, and I'm looking at this track, and I'm basically saying, hey, I'm hoping to connect round 3 through B4. I know I'm going to be doing some digging round 3, and just hoping that either that Fakirs don't force my hand sooner than that, because then I'd have to figure something out. So, but these are all the placements. And then with the bonus tiles, again, I get a break from Fakirs here. Fakirs start on the Priest. So I'm not sure what their plan for the Priest was. I think they were going to just send it to air. But as Fakirs here in a dwelling round, I probably would have done Worker Power, probably. Try to be competitive for spades. It's just tough in 4th seed. I think that one way or another, it just kind of looks like mermaids and engineers are going to get spades before you. Regardless. So, but what ends up happening is mermaids take temp ship in a dwelling round here, looking like they want to do some kind of dwelling rush potentially. Engineers end up taking worker power, which is very nice for them. And what that means is that the big building tile makes it to me in 1st seat, which is excellent. Another couple good breaks to start the game off here. So I'm looking at the start. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm thinking I'm gonna probably get a town over here in the west, town up here in the north, and then I'll just try to make sure to connect up my structures if I can. Otherwise, I can pivot, play a non-network game. So we're off to the races. I upgrade since I know Fakirs are gonna upgrade next to me. Engineers immediately snap the double dig since it's threatened by mermaids. Looks pretty good for them. Mermaids take a priest. So here I am looking at this board and saying, I forgot something. I had not thought about the fact that mermaids could get to 3 ship here and do a dwelling rush that way. So I'm not sure exactly. Yeah. So at that point, once the priest was taken, I was able to kind of think through what the rest of the round would look like. And I said, you know what? Instead of taking D2 and forcing what's going on over here to get my own town, I think I can play a Northern Darklings game here. So I hit the bridge. And this was definitely a move I thought about for a bit. I might have checked BGA and then signed back off, fallen asleep, woken up. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I definitely agonized, to put it a little bit too strongly, over this move because it just felt a little bit goofy and inefficient. But I went for it. I did the bridge. I thought 2 digs, 1 dig for 2 hexes here. So I'm going to temple on C1 and then build B2, B3. I thought that was really nice to get out dwellings in a dwelling round and to get my worker economy up. I planned on taking Fire 1 here for the coins as my favorite tile from the very beginning, given how light this game was on coins. And I said, you know what? If I build B2, B3, at least I know I don't have to worry about Fakirs taking B2 from me. And I'm going to get a little bit of extra leech from mermaids as they build A4, D2. So I thought, you know what? With the extra leech, securing the territory, 2 digs for 1 hex, I think it's worth it. But I will say I did not feel very confident in it at the moment. So that was definitely a pivotal decision here. So I'm going to watch it play out. Fakirs, a little bit leech starved here. I'm their fate's a little bit in my hands here. They take air 2 with their favorite tile. They still have priest in hand. And I decide that I'm going to dig and build instead of upgrading my temple, because I do not want Fakirs to get an easy spade this way. So just in time, mermaids build A4, give me a little bit of leech there. And once again, I decide that I want to keep building up my dwellings here. I think at that point I was debating taking a different favorite tile. Mermaids land with us over on D2. So really nice start for Mermaids. Pretty much right from the beginning of the game, I was pretty scared of their game. It looked good to me more or less all along. And Fakirs finally get their spade. They build on E2, E3, excuse me, get their town going. And I end up going fire 1 after all. So Mermaids continue to just build out their dwellings, do this little dwelling rush in round 1. And Fakir's pass, and again, a really nice break for me. Pretty much all at the hands of Fakirs here, to be honest. Fakirs are looking at round 2, they're looking at their game plan, and they're saying, I really need power, I really need spades. I don't know what else to do. So I think rightfully so, they decide not to take a sanctuary round 2. I think that would have kind of killed their game, killed their economy a little bit. So what they do is they pass on to ship scoring for the power, which is great for me. It leaves me with coins, which is exactly what I need. So thanks to the power from the D2 build here, which I counted out, and my early pass, I'm going to have what I need to take the coins action round 2 and build a sanctuary for Earth 1, which is pretty much perfect. It's kind of a dream opening for me. Furthermore, I will have the option to send my priest off to the cults to get a 3 spot if I want to. No, you know what? I don't think that was really on my radar anyways. I think pretty much by this point, I was planning on saving up my 3 priests for the round 3 dig round here. So Fakirs do indeed get the double spade. They take those hexes. Engineers stay on 1 temple and go for really early pass here off of the big building tile. So their temple Earth 2, and they're going to pass into the spade round here with a bunch of resources. So I'm happy to see that. I look and I see that neither of the other factions are likely to pass. And I say, that big building tile looks very nice to me. Figures take worker power. I take the big building tile. And Mermaids pass on to ship scoring. So at this point, I'm the only faction with Earth 1. I've got a score in favor. Everybody else has their respective distinct income favor tile, which is sort of interesting. All pretty typical stuff. And now we're in round 3, which is a dig round. So I'm set up in the north here. B4 looks safe. I'm going to dig through and get out some dwellings with spades for points. Pass off the big building tile as quickly as I can to try to get these coins. Because if I'm lucky, I think I can get coins in a coins action again going into round 4. And I would love, love, love that. So we see some of these other factions digging. Engineers end up with a double spade, which is exactly what they wanted. I dig through, no need to delay here. And another thing I wanted to mention was I was excited to see engineers take temp ship this round because I knew it would give me a neighbor on C2, which is also nice. So Mermaids build C3, securing themselves a 3-ship connection. But my territory is looking pretty safe in the north here. So heading out of this round, I've got good neighbors I've secured my connection. My points are looking good. I'm about to pass and have 58 points going into round 4, which is better than my opponents at the moment. And I have a decision to make here. I'm looking at everybody's boards, and I'm looking at what's coming for the next round. And I think I might want to build the trading post here because I suspect that there's going to be a Water 1 rush next round, and I would really love to get Water 1 for this game. But I take a closer look. I see that I'm probably the closest to a town here, unless Fakirs go for a sanctuary. So what I start to think instead is, well, maybe it makes more sense to try to go for the 2-key town here. There's really good cult rewards for the next couple of rounds. I guess 2-key would only really affect this fire reward, but I think next round I don't need to dig. I can throw my priest to cult. I can secure good cult position. I can get coins off the cult. I can get workers off the cult. That all looks pretty good to me. So what I do is I pass and I say, listen, if I get Water 1, that's great. I'll take it. But my backup plan is to take Fire 2. I think Fire 2 is pretty nice for the early town, and I think that one way or another I'm going to be able to get 3 towns this game. So Mermaids take a nice 6-point pass off of the ship scoring tile, and they land on a pass tile for bonus points again, which looks very nice for them. And here we are into round 4, so this is a temple round. So again, here I am sitting on nothing but dwellings in a sanctuary, which is really helpful for my worker economy. I've got 10 workers in hand, but I need to build a trading post before I can build the temple. So you see temple from engineers, Water 1. Temple from mermaids, Water 1. Temple from fakirs, Water 1. So I say, well, so it goes. Time for me to move up the fire track. Mermaids with a pretty early pass there, but they're going into round 5 and they get on ship scoring. So I'm fully expecting them to max that out. So their game's starting to look a little bit tall. They don't look like their network prospects are sort of massive here, but I'm a little bit intimidated by what they have got going on. I think they've got a really nice game going. Engineers, on the other hand, just started down on points so much, and they haven't made up enough yet. So, but I've got my eye on them as well. So I throw a priest to fire. I take Fire 2. I grab the 2-key town. I gain a lot of power, and suddenly my cult position's looking pretty nice. Fakirs are it's an interesting game they're playing. I think they've made a lot of decisions I wouldn't personally make. They're kind of trapped over here in the east, and they only have a neighbor on one of these hexes. I think this whole situation's like not really to their benefit or to engineers' benefit. But that's neither here nor there. Their points look okay. They're gonna pass for some points here too. And I throw one more priest to fire, thinking next round is a big building round. I'm planning to build my stronghold at this point. I think I was planning to build my stronghold a little bit earlier too. But I'm thinking I'll probably take an 8 VP town next round to secure fire cult and my 5 cult workers. But in the meantime, I've got 2 priests to cult. I'm going to get 4 coins off the cult that way. And I decided to forego the my free cult step and any other potential actions I could take, because looking at next round, the fact that I plan to build a stronghold and that I need lots of workers to do that, I don't think I'm going to get the coins action going into the next round, but this early pass just feels too good to pass up at this point. The bonus points is going to be 8 points to pass off this tile, and those 2 workers are not inconsequential either. But what it does is it creates a sort of interesting situation for me round 5, where I am behind a bonus tile that I want to pass on to round 6, and I can take a lot of actions to stall here. So I'm keeping a close eye on Mermaid's game, saying I would really love to pass on to that ship scoring tile. So here we are in round 5, and who passed first there? Mermaids pass first. They take coins. They have 6 power left over after taking coins. 18 coins, 18 workers, 3 priests. They are loaded up on supplies, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe stalling out for this pass tile is not realistic after all. So I'm counting out actions. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do. One way or another, I know that I want to get Stronghold out this round, and I have the workers to turn into priests. The priests I can stall with, but what it also means is that because I took Fire 2 last round, building a stronghold up in this other town area here in the north gives me a town, so that's another potential option for me to stall here. So I advance ship once. I get my stronghold ready to build. And engineers opt to go for a stronghold here. They take the 2 cult towns, which I'm a little bit disappointed about. I was hoping to kind of secure better cult position and close out fire with that 1 cult step, but so it goes. And mermaids are burning their resources pretty quickly here. They build a sanctuary to lock in Air 1, but none of that affects me all that much. I'm building my stronghold, taking my priests. And at this point, I'm saying to myself, all right, what does the rest of my game look like? I'm only getting 1 town here, bonus resources. This is the last time I can get these bonus resources for a while. I plan to finish up 1 more town, but I'm not sure exactly when it's going to happen. So looking at fakirs, looking at engineers, I can see they're pretty low on resources. I think it's very likely that they're going to pass out of this round before mermaids want to pass. And so all I have to do is outstall mermaids, take my sweet time in this round, and I'll end up on the ship scoring tile. So originally I was eyeing a couple different locations for possible 3rd town, and I'm looking at the fact that I'm going to be in that ship scoring tile. I want to upgrade to 3 ship and get to D8, E10, F7 over here, build a town. So I decided to take the coin down. And looking at my resources here and counting stuff out, I realize I am in welcoming all leech I can get territory here. I'm not going to pay for like a 5 for 4 probably, but I want coins. So I'm keeping my power lined up to take 2 for 1s. Anyone who wants to upgrade next to me, I will be very happy. Because the more coins I can get, the more structures I'll build next round. And with the trading post round, next round, Earth 1, every structure that I build is going to be worth points. So I want economy. I want to see how well I can do on network. So looking at this board, I start really thinking hard about mermaids. I'm saying mermaids are on 13 coins and no workers, but I cannot afford to have them pass after me. 2 reasons. The first is that I really want their bonus tile. I want those 9 points. Second reason is that I think they're my biggest competition at this point. I think their game looks pretty good, and I don't want them to get my bonus tile at this point either. So I make the tough decision to take the priest power action. And what I'm going to do here is actually just send the priest to fire for 1 cult step to close out that cult. And what it means is that that's 2 actions I get to take, and mermaids now can't take the priest action. That's potentially a 4 action swing. which I think definitely secures my passing on to the ship scoring tile, but was perhaps a little bit paranoid of me. Speaking of paranoid, I'm going to be digging this hex one at a time to start here. Again, I want to stall mermaids as much as I can. I don't know what they're doing with those 13 workers. They could just do some light digging. Who knows? But I'm liking my position a lot here, and I just want to play it safe. So, engineers pass. I hold my breath. Mermaids don't pass. They take the 11-point town, greeting as many points as they can. I bump fire, like I talked about, and fakirs pass. So fakirs secure the trading post tile, which means it's just me and mermaids left in the round. And mermaids don't even take any more actions. They see that I've outstalled them. They have other things to do. They take their big 15, 16, 17, 18-point pass, 17-point pass, up over 100 points. And now I'm free to finish out the round at my leisure. Pass on to the bonus tile of my dreams. So I'm making my way down here, building out some dwellings. And at this point, I'm trying to decide whether it makes sense for me to potentially build like a trading post, but I decided not to. I decided it makes more sense to save it for next round. I'm just going to put myself in a position to get an early town if I want it. So here we go, into the last round. I'm sitting around 100 points. I know one way or another I've got another town coming in. Got a lot of resources, and all the structures that I build are worth points. And I've got one more ship upgrade I'm going to try to get in order to max out my bonus tile. Plus the 4 points from the ship upgrade itself. Not too shabby. So, looking at my opponents, they're all pretty good on points. Engineer's still trailing a bit, despite having all Earth 1, Water 1 building out a lot of structures. They've got pass points coming in from their stronghold and bridge. I expect they'll build another bridge this round too, but I think they're a little bit far behind at this point. And fakirs are looking okay, but I don't think that they're terribly competitive on network. And yeah, they've got all 3 scoring favors. I'm not sure what to think about fakirs at this point, but they have connected up. They've made the cross-map journey to E8, F3. They've connected their structures. They have plenty of flights available. So they're looking pretty light on coins to me. So at this point, I'm just trying to build out this town, count out my resources so I get as many points from the town as I can, and upgrade my ship and compete on network as best I can. It's looking to me like engineers probably have me beat on network, but I would love a second place here if I can get it. So I think I'm just going to let the rest of this play out automatically here. No need to belabor things. It's a trading post round, and all of my opponents have Water 1. So I'm relieved to see that mermaids are just building out trading posts. As the round goes on, they're just going to continue building out trading posts. I think pretty much as many as they can. They don't have Earth 1 here. I think they're going to have 3rd on network regardless. So that all looks pretty good to me. But watching their points climb higher and higher doesn't feel great either, and their cold position's not bad. So, but regardless, what I end up doing here is just building out my structures, stalling a bit so I know how much leech I'm getting and what town I can get. If I get a little bit more leech, I think I can take the priest town. But if I don't, it's looking like I'm going to need to take the worker town and miss out on a point or 2 that way. So, want to make sure I have enough to upgrade shipping because it is worth a lot of points to me. It's like a 7-point ship upgrade. So going into the round, I knew I could at least take a ship town if I needed to, but it's starting to look like I've got enough power that I don't need to worry about that. Again, just building out my structures. Choosing not to finish my town yet. Seeing what my opponents do. Fakirs pretty much finish out. They get a decent pass. They finish on 121 points, but without network and without more cult points, they have decent cults. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Engineers, meanwhile, are down to 3 structures, and they're about to build another dwelling to get down to 2. So I know I'm not catching them on network. Finally, once I see that where the chips are falling, I settle for my worker town, build out 1 more dwelling, and I do a ship upgrade to finish out the round in the game. Which means after the pass, I think I'm going to be at 134 points. Yep. 134 points going into endgame scoring. Not bad, and I've got a easy second place on network, along with a smattering of cult points, so. I'll let the final scores roll in, but just to recap here, I'd say I got a lot of good breaks this game. Certainly Fakir's opening placements and everybody's bonus tile decisions in round 1, giving me the Stronghold Sanctuary tile. Really good breaks. I got my coins, even though it was a coin light game. And but I think I was pretty happy with 2 main sort of pivotal decisions this game. The first was the bridge, counting out my power, not panicking and taking D2 when I saw that mermaids were going to be able to take it from me, and just soaking up more power structures up in the north here. I think that was a good decision. And then secondly, not panicking about Water 1, seeing that I could hurt my worker production by building a trading post preemptively and have an early upgrade for Water 1. And choosing not to do that, keep my worker production up, take the 2 key town, take the cult points and the extra power from it. I think that was a really good decision that ended up being pretty good for me. So, quick recap before we go over the last game, which ended up sealing the league for me. I had a 3rd place game with Dwarves, where I upgraded digs in round 6. I had a 2nd place Halfling game, where I upgraded digs round 6. And then I had this 1st place Darklings game, which ended up being 162 to 147. Ended up being pretty close between Fakirs and Engineers for 3rd place. But this is the only game where I didn't upgrade my digs. So that's a little bit of a spoiler for the next game, but the only reason I didn't upgrade them is because I couldn't upgrade them. So I've recently realized that this is something I do more often than most other players. So we will switch over to the next game. The last and final game here. Okay, so here we are in the last game, and this game is on Fire and Ice, and we've got Nomads, Engineers, Orin, Children of the Wyrm. So Fire and Ice map is a map I've only played maybe half a dozen times before, not very many compared to the number of games I've played on other maps here. And Children of the Wyrm are a faction that I've only played, I think, twice before and played against a couple of times. So a lot of the early bidding here is on Nomads and Children of the Wyrm. What have we got? Not a particularly interesting setup here, except for Spade is notably missing, which all these factions would like. And Big Building's missing. Also kind of a bummer for first round and beyond for some of these factions. But a lot of the early action, like I said, is on Children of the Wyrm here. And I'm doing my best to kind of evaluate opening placements, how I think the bonus piles are going to break down. And I'm looking at taking temp chip here if I'm on Children of the Wyrm. So I place a bid on Children, putting them down to 19. And I'm thinking it's possible I'll get stuck with them there, since the 20-point barrier is often kind of hard for people to go past. But I'm looking at Orin and I'm saying to myself, I got this. If I can get bit off of Children of the Wyrm, I might take Orin here even further. Do a double temple opening. Do like priest to water, water 2, water 1. Play a weird game, get some cold spades, but doesn't happen. I end up on children. So opening placements go like this. I was planning on going e8 from the start, and then looking at my other options here, feeling like I5, I'm definitely going to get some neighbors down there. At least one of the nomads' dwellings is going to go down there. And I do get engineers as a neighbor too. So, and in fact, what I end up getting is 2 nomads neighbors and 1 engineer's neighbor here in the south. So, no real doubt in my mind, as Children of the Wyrm, because of their increased burning ability, I take Temp Ship here, and I am hoping that I can take Double Dig. And engineers do end up starting on the cult coins, which means I'm going to have a crack at Double Dig here, no problem. So the one thing that I'm crossing my fingers for with this whole opening, which felt pretty high stakes, was D6 here, the central hex, is pretty crucial for me right now. Orin are in 3rd seat, and they've got just 1 power away from being able to afford single dig. I'm in 4th seat with the ability to afford double dig. So if they get any power before I do, before their first turn here, I think they're pretty likely to snap single dig and take that hex away from me. But given the fact that we've got a leech triangle down here, I'm just crossing my fingers and I'm thinking that engineers in 2nd seat, at least, they're probably looking for their first town down here, so they're going to want to upgrade down there. And nomads probably thinking kind of similar, so they upgrade south, engineers upgrade south. They let out a big sigh of relief because I'm able to double dig. So I double dig. I'm on Temp Ship, and I'm thinking it would be awesome if I could finish out round 1 with Temple and 4 dwellings, so 3 new dwellings here. And I count everything out. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be possible. So what I do is I build H6 first, so I get more power down in the south here, and I leave D6 open. A little bit risky. It means I might not use Temp Ship at all if I don't get to D5 here, but it just felt like nomads might be opening Stronghold anyways, and who knows. However, nomads did start on the trading post scoring tile, so I think they might be doing a trading post opening here. And sure enough, they take single dig, which kind of signals they might be opening with 3 trading posts here and 1 dwelling, so we'll see how it all goes. I'm not sure this is like ideal circumstances for trading post nomads, given how rich coins are otherwise in the game, but it's a cool opening, and it's definitely something I considered when we were in auction too. So engineers take priest. Looks to me like they're going to be throwing priest water and using their cult bump to get a cult spade round 1. Orin just go with the temple and take air 2. I get the opportunity to upgrade down south before engineers do, so I'll get a little power from them there. And now, unfortunately, what this means is I'm getting a lot of leech, but I wasn't able to build on D6 in time to get the upgrades from Orin and nomads up in the north. But never too late. And unfortunately, nomads opt to build their 3rd trading post up next to Orin in the north rather than next to me in the south, which was tough. I was really hoping for that extra leech. I thought that would really push my game over the edge. So, but Orin ended up upgrading shipping to get out 2 new dwellings here, which I was able to see coming as well when I was counting my power. which meant, what did I do? I ended up taking the workers action here. So what I'm going to do here is end this round with a temple and 4 dwellings with an extra worker in hand. So not a bad start. Not a bad start at all. So I temple for fire 1. Engineers look like they're definitely going to be going for a double temple opening. So the temple earth 2. I build out my 1 more dwelling. And this double temple is really nice for me too, because it means I get a bunch of extra power from engineers here. And Orin pass onto ship scoring, which I did not foresee. I sort of imagined that Orin might want to pass on to dwelling scoring here. But they don't. And so originally what I was doing is I was looking at this scoring track and I was thinking, dwellings next round. If I'm on 1 ship, I can hit B3 and get out 1, 2, 3 new dwellings. And then I remembered, I'm Children of the Wyrm. It's nice to build next to people to get a discount on my dwellings. Maybe that's not the best idea. And then I went, I think it is a good idea anyways. I'm going to pass on to ship scoring. I'll be able to upgrade shipping and get hard dig easy. But that doesn't happen. So instead, I get dwelling scoring. And engineers get temp ship, and we all pass into round 2. So round 2 dwelling round, and Nomads are first to act here. They take the double dig, no surprise there. So their game's looking pretty good for a trading post opening. This is pretty much what you want to see round 2. So I have the priest in hand, and I was considering still upgrading shipping and digging over here, A3, B3, C2 to get on my dwellings. But I count out structures. I look at this priest to fire, which looks pretty nice to me to get extra power. And at this point, I commit heavily to Stronghold round 3. Now, I've had my eye on Stronghold round 3 all game so far. I shout out to Matt the Lesser for doing fan faction strategy videos. I definitely went and watched his video before I played this game since I was not too familiar with Children of the Wyrm. And I just had the mantra "burn, baby, burn" in my head here because that is a great way for them to generate extra resources, is to burn their power in a particular way. So if you can burn 1 power from bowl 2, you move 2 power up to bowl 3, generate extra resources that way. And so I have been doing that as aggressively as possible all game. Should have mentioned that earlier in the video. And I will continue to do so throughout this round. So at this point in the round, once I made the decision to throw priest to fire to collect this cult reward, get a little bit of a head start on that cult, I've already decided I'm building a stronghold next round, and I have the resources to build a stronghold next round if I hard dig on C3, secure my town territory here. It has the additional benefit of meaning that I can do an early 2-key town next round with the stronghold. So let's watch it play out. I think I undid my turn here and then finally decided that it was going to work out. I hard digged and build C3. So I'm going to end this round with temple and 5 dwellings, 6 worker income. I'll get a decent pass off of the dwelling scoring tile for 5 points. Now I'm going to take the gold coins here. Meanwhile, everybody else has found a really nice way to get dwellings out this round. So Nomads took double dig, got an early pass, and then got themselves back onto trading post scoring, which that all looks really nice for them. Engineers put a Colt Spade on F5, managed to take single dig, and are on temp ship, so they have access to G8, F6 that way. And then Orin end up upgrading their shipping here on the ship scoring tile. And I believe they go to 3 ship here. Let me just see. Yep, they upgrade to 3 ship round 2, which is really cool. It's a really nice line, and that means they're going to be able to get out 2 more dwellings this way. So they build D3. As years pass for the coins. And then they build D9 here. And they actually convert some power over and manage to build F1 too. So this Orin game is looking very cool. They are on 3 ship round 2. And they managed to get Temple 7 dwellings out in a dwelling round, which is very nice. Pass for 9 points. They're already up to 54 points, passing on to the dwelling scoring tile. So I'm looking at Orin here in particular, and I'm feeling a bit intimidated. They're at 54. I'm only on 28 points. But nothing to do but forge on. Nomads build their round 3 stronghold. And I take the workers. So I count up my resources here. I think I messed up my math a couple of times actually, but count out the resources and I realize I have what it takes to build a stronghold and a trading post into a temple here. So my plan this round is to build the stronghold, build the temple for Earth 1 before the temple round, secure myself a scoring favor, and get the early town here for the 2-key town. Because looking at these cult rewards, we've got workers, coins, workers, and I'm going to have good priest production. I'm going to have 2-key town in hand. I think I can do a pretty good job holding on to good cults this game. So that's my plan. I continue getting really nice power here. This whole southern area has been really nice for me, getting a lot of cheap leech. And I also continue burning power. So you'll notice I throw a priest to Earth here. I managed to get the first priest to Earth, which knowing I'm going to get the 2-key town here. Or, yep, I don't think anyone else can get it. Yeah, so planning to get the 2-key town here. I know this is going to help my cult position. Hopefully I can get a win or a second place on Earth. And it also gets me 1 power, which means I can burn more power here. I'm down to 3 power tokens. I've gotten a lot of additional resources out of my play here. Or an upgrade next to me. And I get yet more power. And we're going for the stronghold. A lot of priests to air here. Get these cult rewards. I convert, burn, and bump up fire here. And I almost managed to burn all but 1 of my power going into this stronghold, which gives me all my power tokens back. But I panic. Something goes through my head. I miscount something. I think I have enough to get a sanctuary out. I'm not sure what I thought, but I thought maybe I needed power for workers after all, or something like that. So I panicked and I didn't do it, but almost unlocked that achievement, burning all my power but 1 for round 3 stronghold. But regardless, here we go. I build the stronghold. I get all my power back. I get my stronghold ability. Everybody else has passed out of the round at this point. So it's time to get myself a temple. Earth 1. Here's the 2-key town. So I use my stronghold ability, connect up my structures in the north here, hit around 3 town, and then start working towards this I7H8 area down here. So at this point, I'm heavily eyeing the south. I really want to get to the east side of the map here. I want to beat nomads, notably to H8 here, because if they can beat me to H8, they might connect, and if they don't, connection for them is going to be a lot more challenging. Plus, this makes for a much more convenient town location for me in the south. I could still town through F4 with a sanctuary, but I like the look of H8 and some of these black hexes that I can access later in the game over the east. So, anyhow, I take 2 keys. Suddenly, my cults look very nice. I end up getting an extra worker off of the code reward for this round. And then I make the decision to take another priest here and throw it to air. So part of my thinking here is that I have the power to do it. The extra worker definitely helps me. I don't have as many dwellings on the board as I once did. And I think I can probably be competitive for first or second on air cult here if I manage to get another cult town, since now all these slots are taken. So at this point, I think I've also realized I'm pretty unlikely to get water 1. I think I'm probably getting air 1. So I sort of was thinking one way or another, getting extra priest to cult with some of the rewards coming up, and getting the position on air could mean that I'm going to get some good cult points off of air here. So quick pause. We're halfway through this game in round 4, temple round. And I've already got 2 temples on the board. I don't think I'm building a 3rd temple. At this point, what I want to do is get out more dwellings. So I've passed on to temp ship. I'm eyeing this I7 area. It's really important for me to get that. So nomads took a priest with their first action. They still don't have a temple on the board, so they needed to take a priest action before they could upgrade dig. So I did time things out with that in mind. So now with my stronghold ability connecting me to I7, I actually have access to double dig, which looked relatively uncontested. And I'm going to be able to beat nomads to these southern hexes that I want. So engineers starting to look nice here. I see E2's not going anywhere for them. They're going to be able to get a bridge town with a sanctuary probably. They've already got town space lined up here. They're sitting on 60 points, and they just locked up Earth 1 and Water 1. So I think their game's starting to look pretty nice. I do manage to take double dig, which is great. Nomads still with a priest in hand have not upgraded their shipping yet. So at this point, I know I'm building out as many dwellings as I can here. 1, 2, 2, maybe 3 more dwellings, probably 3 more dwellings. So I'm just going to build them in places that don't give my opponents leech for as long as possible. Orange secure their connection through B5. Engineers secure their town space at E2. And I continue to play keep away with my opponents here, not giving them power where I don't need to. So nomads on 1 ship, I do think they're likely to build H7 next. So I build C2. Building H7 here is going to give me a 3-for-1. So I'd rather have a 3-for-1 than a 4-for-2. So they do so. They still have their stronghold action available. And I crushed their southern connection dreams here by building on H8. So nomads can still connect. They're still able to connect on 3 ship through A4, B4, D4, but it's looking like quite a journey. And furthermore, they've got H7 and I6 disconnected. So if they want to connect those up, they'd also have to dig G4, F4. I'm looking at all of that plus their point total and their prospects for the rest of the game, and I'm thinking I'm not too worried about it. So I take the workers. Excuse me. I'm sort of losing track of what my game plan was here. I think I'm stalling so I can get on the ship scoring tile. But regardless, I'm sending more priests to cults to get this juicy juicy cult rewards here. So I'm going to end up with 5 priests on the cults, getting 10 coin income this round. And then I'm going to get 4 or 5 worker income next round. So not too different from the Darklings game, actually, with this round 5 fireworkers. Able to really take advantage of that. And I'm taking a lot of actions here after everybody else has passed, which I feel like can be a really good sign at this point in the game. I'm definitely, my economy is booming. I have a lot to do. I'm getting on a bonus tile for round 5, and I am sitting behind a bonus tile around 6 as well. So it's looking like as long as I can pass behind nomads who are in front of me, I'm going to also land on a good bonus tile to score some points in the last round. So anyways, engineers take coins. They have 25 coins. It's just not something you see for engineers too often. And we're into round 6. We're into round 5. It's starting to look like Orin are going to have a 0-town game, which is not something you see every day, but their point total is looking pretty nice. And as predicted, with such a late pass into this round, I didn't imagine that water 1 was happening for me. And indeed it doesn't. All my opponents lock up water 1. So, again, not a problem. I'm going to just take air 1 here. I considered fire 2, but I looked at everything and I said, I think I have enough for 3 towns without it. So, air 1's looking nice here. Gets me good cult position on air. And because I'm playing this culty game, because I'd love to lock out fire and get an extra worker, Cult Town seems like a pretty no-brainer here. So, taking a quick look at my resources here, I continue to get a lot of free or cheap power from upgrades, and I'm flooded with resources. So, as of a round or 2 ago, I was fully planning on upgrading digs in the final round. And looking at my resources now, I'm saying to myself, one way or another, I want to get on this bonus tile with trading posts for the last round. It's a round 6 trading post round. Actually, that's the same as the Darklings game too, wasn't it? I didn't make that connection before. But if I need to, I can just upgrade my digs to stall here. But nomads build a town, take a cult town of their own, and what did I just do? I upgraded my shipping. Yep. So I'm on the ship scoring tile. So I'm thinking I can get away with 2 shipping this round. I could take a priest action and get to 3 ship, but I don't want to miss the window to pass after nomads. So at this point, I'm just planning on upgrading shipping 1 more time. And thinking, I'll take my 6-point pass. I don't need a full 9. I'll have plenty of time and resources next round to get to 3 shipping to connect up all my structures. So Orin are first out of the round. They pass off of the dwelling tile, which means it's possible that the rest of us could get good bonus tiles going into round 6. Nomads pass for dwellings, and indeed, I pass to make sure that I get onto the trading post tile. So I still had plenty of resources this round, stuff that I could do, but my income's looking pretty nice. I'm down to 7 dwellings, so I'm getting my full worker income, and then I've got 1 trading post down to boot, so I'm getting some points and power as well. And engineers continue to have a pretty long round themselves. So they build out a stronghold and they get 2 bridges up. So they pass for 6 there. They've got air 1 in hand. And they land on ship scoring. So going into the last round, let's take a look at the state of the game. I'm fully 25 points behind the rest of the field. Feeling pretty good about my endgame scoring, feeling pretty good about my scoring for this round with a boatload of resources, but a little bit nervous as well. It doesn't feel good to be that far behind on points. And at this point, I'm seeing that Orin are going to have a 0-town game, so they're not going to be able to lock out Air Cult. or any cults for that matter. So if I can top a cult, I'm going to probably win it against them at least. So their points are nice, but they're not on a bonus tile that scores them points. I think they're probably just going to build out trading posts here and then do decently on network and do as well as they can on cults. So I got my eye on Orin, but engineers are the ones that are starting to look pretty good to me. They've got their 2 bridges up. They're going to be able to upgrade their shipping here, so they're going to have a huge pass at the end of this round. They still have 1 more town coming in, as well as a bunch of water too. They've got 4 trading posts on their board that they'll be able to build to get 6 points apiece with water too in hand in a trading post round. However, engineers don't have a neighbor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this round slow. I've been planning on upgrading digs for the last couple of rounds. I've been planning on doing that in round 6 to dig out my northern town. It's going to be really easy to make this town across the water, given my stronghold ability. And I'm going to play it as slow as I can to deny engineers these neighbors, because I do not want... I think they're my biggest threat at this point, and so I want them to have to build expensive trading posts over in the east. And so, counting stuff out. And I want to deny them as best I can. I think that when they're passing off of this bonus tile, they're going to get a lot of points. So, a couple of other things before I play a couple of moves here. One is that I chose to open this round by upgrading C2. That's because I'm still in the market for more coins to make everything I want to make happen this round happen. Despite the fact that I have 19 coins in hand, I do need more than that to get everything done, to win network outright, to get my town, and to upgrade my shipping to connect. I want more and more and more coins. So we're going to look at some stats after the game, but I get a ton of free power this round, and upgrading C2 is a big part of that. Orin, I'm thinking, might dig B1 to get themselves a town here, and they're going to have a lot of building and upgrading around me here, and every time they do that, I'm going to get a free 2 power. So engineers do their first trading post upgrade. And here comes the free power. Orin, upgrade next to me. I get some free power. Upgrading my digs. Orin, build next to me. I get some free power. Nomad's build next to me. I get some free power. And this brings me to sort of like one of the last strategic decisions of the game for me, I think. Originally, I was keeping an eye on Nomad's northern connection, thinking, well, if it's all the same, I could upgrade my digs early, dig out A4, block them from connecting. What I realized was, going into this round, counting out some points, although Nomads and Engineers are on the same points right now, 98, 1 on 3, pretty similar. I know Engineers are going to make a lot more points this game, that they're my biggest competition. So what I see is that if Nomads connect all their structures up, they're actually going to beat Engineers on network. Otherwise, Engineers are going to be able to get 6 points off network. So thinking that might be the difference between winning in second place, I allow Nomads to connect through B4 with a Sandstorm here. So it's a little bit of a win-win for them and I. So Orin build the trading post on D2. More free power for me. Nomads build, a dwelling on B4, which initially looks like it should be 2 power, but because of this token in the river, it actually comes to a 3-for-1 with my power being capped. And I count things out and realize I'm done paying for power here. So I take the priest so I can upgrade my shipping all the way. I stall further to deny Engineers this neighbor. And I know I've got the hexes. I know I've got the resources. I'm going to get my 3 towns. And I'm going to build G9, E6, E7, as long as they aren't interrupted. And I'll have plenty to spare. Continue to stall here. No reason not to. So at this point, I think I've got what I need to take the 11-point down. The other thing I wanted to point out was cults. So right now I've got 2 first places, a second place, and a tied second. And looking at cults here and looking at the fact that engineers are my biggest competition, I'm keeping a close eye on these cults because if I can stall and see which cult engineers move up on, I'm sort of planning to build a temple uh, for either Water 2 or Air 3. It's kind of in the back of my mind as I have the resources if I need to build the temple. And if I do that, it might swing 8 points against engineers. It could be very well worth missing out on a couple of points from having the 4th trading post up. Because if I leave the 4th trading post up, I do get 2 points off of my bonus tile and an additional point off of the Air 1 tile. So, anyways, I'm keeping an eye on cults. I'm continuing to stall so that engineers will take all of their actions before I have to decide. And engineers do go for Water 2 here. So, I'm continuing to stall to see whether they bump water or whether they bump air. I build my trading post, get my town just about ready. And engineers end up bumping water to close out water cults. So going for Water 3 here doesn't make much sense for me at this point. Doesn't get me any points. And at this point, I'm thinking, well, maybe I do take. It could be worth flipping air, but Orin still have their stronghold ability, so I'm not going to take it from Orin. At this point, probably not worth building out Temple. So everybody else is just about passing. Engineers with a huge pass. Although because of the, in large part because they had to build expensive trading posts, they didn't have enough they didn't have enough resources to fully upgrade their ships or to build one more trading post. So they end up having to finish a little bit suboptimally. And so here I am giving them power and neighbors, but it's too late for them to do so. And Orin ended up going for the 11-point town, which is unfortunate as I would have liked that. But Orin passed out of the round, and that's pretty much the game here. So I can build my town. At this point, I just want as many points as I can get, so I can get myself a priest town. And looking at my resources and looking at everything that's going on, the only thing I have to do here is fight cults. I'm already winning that workout, right? And doesn't make much sense for me to build a temple because it loses me some points. So I pass engineers on air, upgrade my shipping, and I pass with 7 resources in hand still. So going into endgame scoring, I'm getting good cult points. I'm winning network outright, and I'm feeling pretty good. Looks like it'll be enough for the win. So engineers coming up just short here, in part because of the lack of neighbors. But they played a really cool, creative, tall game, and I have no idea how they made as many points as they did out of auction. I was not touching engineers with a 30-foot pole going into this auction. So, but this game was the last one to finish, and at that point, it was between Rhonda Rice, who was playing engineers here, and I for the league, I believe. If one of us won and the other one got second place, then that was the league. So I managed to win by less than 10 points here, and that was enough. That was enough to win the league. So highlights of this game, I think this might not be a terribly creative game as to how to play Children of the Wyrm on Fire and Ice map. They're really nice on this map because the main issue for black factions in this map is town space. And I mean, look at this. I used my stronghold ability for all 3 of my towns. And 3 towns pretty easily here with plenty of power. I mean, I had neighbors the whole game. I had power the whole game. And so I managed to hit my bonus tiles. I upgraded digs. I executed my plan. in the round 3 strongholds to make this Tukey town was, I think, a really big part of that plan. So I think that part worked out pretty nicely. So win that I'm pretty proud of at a strong table in a sort of unfamiliar situation that took a little bit more in-depth thinking on my part. But one thing to look back at in this game is the stats, and this is where we just talk about Children of the Wyrm and them being a generically very strong faction, because let's see what we did here. Power gained via structures. I got 55 power from Leech here, and I only had to pay 8 VP for it, which is insane. So that's like, if I got 6 for 1s every time, something like that, it's a really, really nice ratio. It's a pretty incredible faction ability. And yeah, so managed to get the win here. Pretty close between second and third place here, between Patrick and Rondo on Engineers and Orin. And I think that'll do it. So again, huge thanks to the organizers of this league. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for making a lot of good games possible for all of us players. And thanks also to Matt the Lesser for the awesome faction guides. Definitely listening to that video through before getting deep into this game helped me out and reminded me the fundamentals of this faction that I had very little experience with. So if you haven't done it before, go play Children of the Wyrm on Fire and Ice map. It's a lot of fun, even if you put them down to 19 to begin with, apparently. So that'll do it. Thanks for tuning in. Hope everybody enjoyed the video.